Hello, I'm Vladimir. Today we'll continue learning how to code your BMW properly. Actually, this is already the second series of our coding manual, how to use Esys properly. In the first part, we have learned how to connect to the car, what tools are needed, and how to configure Esys properly not to break anything in your car. In today's part 2 of Coding Manual for Dummies, we will focus more on more advanced coding. I'll show you how to even code without having any launchers at all. And to give that video more value, I'll not show you only how to code without the launcher, but we'll go deep into the Esys and I'll show you what does that program does behind the scenes. If you're pressing just code some ECUs, what do it actually do, and also what is the vehicle order, from which main parts it consists, and how do actually different parts of your vehicle order affect the coding process of your BMW. So, what are the differences between the FDL coding and FA coding? We have discussed in great detail the FDL coding in part 1. So basically it is just going inside the ECU and changing the single parameters inside one ECU. With the FA coding you can code the whole car at once or the single ECU to the factory settings, for example. Or you can even modify your vehicle order to make some retrofits and doing all that more advanced stuff. That's why in order to code with vehicle order your car properly, you have to really well understand what is vehicle order, from which parts it do consist, and how smaller changes in the vehicle order will affect the end process of coding. Vehicle order consists from three main parts. The first one is essay option, the second one will be time criteria, and the third one will be TypeKey or Typschlüssel in German. So let's dive into those three different main parts and let's discuss how changes in those will affect the coding process. Small disclaimer, it is very important to understand that coding based on the vehicle order it's a very simple process to do that, but behind the scenes there's a lot of things happening and you can really harm your vehicle very easy if you don't understand what you're doing. That's why the main aim of today's video is to show you what is happening during the coding based on the vehicle order. As you already do know, the vehicle order consists from three main parts. Let's discuss in more details each one of those. Let's start with the essay options. If you go to a BMW dealership and for example you order your BMW and you want to have xenon lights or adaptive xenon lights or LED lights to your vehicle, for you as a human being it's just okay, it's xenon and or that's adaptive xenon lights. But for the computer and for the factory it means way another things. So let's see what the vehicle order consists from. For that you can just use whatever source on the internet to decode your vehicle, your VIN code. Your VIN code consists from 17 digits. You can copy it just from your car or from your existing vehicle order. You can just copy and paste it and submit. And actually over here it is example of the car we'll be working today. It is BMW 3 Series, actually it's 3 Series Gran Turismo in F34 chassis. As I already told you about the lighting system, so all lighting system will be 5 something. Why it's called essay option? In those options you can see the S Sierra in front. On some vehicle decoders there is also A in the end. For example, if you open the full list of BMW options available, you can see everywhere it's starting with S and ending with A. That's why it's called essay options. But you have to just ignore the first and the last digit, so there's only 3 digits remaining between those. Actually not 3 digits, 3 symbols. So it could be digit or letter, it doesn't matter. Let's go back to my vehicle. So over here you can see it has option 522, it is xenon light. For example, if I want to retrofit my vehicle with adaptive xenon lights, what should I do? We have to know which option goes to the adaptive xenon lights. That will be 524. Where do I know that? On the internet you can find all the BMW options available. You can download them into whatever PDF file, and with the help of the search you can just search, for example, 522, and you can see it's xenon light. If you want to retrofit adaptive xenon light, you need option 524, adaptive headlight. If you modify your vehicle order, apply the changes and code the proper ECUs, your car will now understand that it has actually not xenon light but adaptive xenon light. So it means you have made the hardware changes. One more example about the same vehicle. We can see that inside my vehicle I should have option 606, that's navigation system business. Actually it means it has narrow screen, a really basic navigation, nothing special. In my vehicle I have made the retrofit for the better head unit, it is NBT Evo, and that option should be 609. Where do you know that? Exactly the same PDF, you can just type in, for example, 609, and you'll see it is navigation system professional. That's why if you change, for example, the head unit in your vehicle, you have to somehow let the car know that it has another ECUs inside it, otherwise nothing will just work. That's why you need to modify your vehicle order and put another SA option. So to sum up a bit about those SA options, actually you can see that whatever changes you're making in the vehicle order, in most cases it requires also the hardware changes in your vehicle. That's why if you are not changing anything hardware wise in your vehicle, just coding with the SA options might not be the best idea. But there's also possibilities when with the different SA options the hardware of the vehicle exactly the same, and just via the coding you can achieve way better performance in your vehicle. For example, have a look to my screen. If in your car you have automatic transmission and you have option 205 that stands for automatic transmission, actually you can recode the transmission into the sport transmission. From the factory, the transmission itself will be exactly the same one. The only changes will be that the gear selector will be with a different shape, but the performance of the gear selector remains the same. But the performance of your automatic transmission will change, the shift time will change, and so on and so on. That's why if in your vehicle order instead of 205 you delete that option and you need to type in 2 Tango Bravo, and you can see that sport automatic transmission, and if you recode your vehicle with that option, the result will be better performance of the automatic transmission without any hardware modifications. Next important part of vehicle order is time criteria, or when the vehicle was produced. Why it's important to understand that. For example, my vehicle was produced in 2016. In my vehicle I had business navigation, it was entry nav head unit. Not entry nav to anything, just entry nav head unit. It is business navigation, nothing fancy. I wanted to retrofit the more advanced NBT Evo. The NBT Evo production date, the first one, was also 2016, but it was like the end of the 16, beginning of the year 17, when it was fitted to the vehicles that I have. That's why if I just changing the production date in the vehicle order and just changing the S option from 606 to 609 and recode my head unit, I will achieve nothing good. That's why I also need to modify the production date of the vehicle to trick the car and to let it think that it is newer, and that's why it will be looking for the newer ECUs inside it. Let's have a look how it looks like. So let's open up the vehicle order of my vehicle. That vehicle order you can see on your screen at the moment, it is from the factory. As you can see, my time criteria is 0316, it means March of 2016, and I have 606 option in it. So it means vehicle was produced in March 2016 and it had business navigation system in it. In order to retrofit the better head unit, I need to make some modifications. That's why I made another vehicle order. And over here you can already see that my time criteria, it is changed to a newer one. It is March 2018. It could be March 2017 also, but let's just be 18. And over here you can see Also the essay option is changed, and that allows me to retrofit the better head unit into my car. That's why playing with time criteria, it is also important part of the vehicle order, and just changing that based on nothing, that's not a good idea. You have to understand really well what you are doing. And the third important part of the vehicle order is the type key. In my vehicle, for example, it is that one. What does that type key goes for? Actually, it shows you the combination of chassis, engine, and the region of the car where it was produced. For example, when retrofitting the NBT Evo into your car, the type key doesn't matter at the beginning. Those first 3 digits, they will show the chassis and the engine. And the last digit, number 1, it shows that my vehicle was produced for the European region. If my vehicle was produced, for example, to the US market, it will have 3 in the end. So different parts of the world will have the different type keys. For example, the same car. Why it's important to know that? Because if you will code, for example, the NBT Evo with European type key, and the NBT Evo was produced for the US market, you will just have a black screen, and it will be really hard to resurrect that head unit after that. That's why making changes in the type key, it's not recommended if you don't know what you're doing. So a bit more information about that type key. You can find it on, for example, that kind of website. Over there, there is written all the BMW chassis that were produced. You have to just search for yours, F34. I have F34, it's 3 Series Gran Turismo, so that's correct one. I'll just click there, a lot of advertisements, that's okay. And over here you can see the different type keys. Over here you can see what car is that, with what platform, and what is the engine, the power, is it rear wheel drive or it is all wheel drive, for what part of the what of the world it was produced, and so on. So my type key is that one. So let's copy. We can paste it over here. And as you can see, I have 2-liter diesel engine. It is B47, 140 kilowatts. It's rear-wheel drive. It is Europe and left. Remember, I told you that if my car was produced, for example, for the US, it will have 3 in the end, not 1. So let's see for whatever US car, you can see for the USA, and you can see in the end there is 3 instead of that. And for example, if the car was produced for the Indian region, you can see it will be 7 in the end. If it's produced for the Europe, but left-hand drive or right-hand drive, it will have 1 or 2 in the end. That's why the type key plays a huge role in the coding. Those were 3 main parts of the vehicle order. Why I tell just only 3 main parts? Because in the vehicle order you can find way more information. For example, what color is your saloon inside, or what color of the car is outside. But actually, if you make any changes to the vehicle order, will your car color actually change or not? Of course not. But why it's there? Because it's made for the BMW factory. When you at the dealership order your car, for example, you tell that I want a red car with brown leather inside. That's why all this information goes inside the vehicle order, and based on that order, the factory knows what vehicle they have to produce. That's why it's all there. Now, when we have covered all the mandatory theory basis about the vehicle order, let's go downstairs, connect to the vehicle, open up Esys, and I'll show you where that vehicle order is located, how to read it out, how you can modify it, and of course, how you can code the ECUs with the vehicle order. And even more, for those who are really interested in all that stuff, at the end of the video, I'll code some of the ECUs with the different vehicle orders, and we can compare what changes are made automatically inside that ECU. So it is not so obvious as you might think, but it is very interesting and important to understand. Let's go. Knowing the theory, how everything is built, is a must, but without practice there is no big use of that. That's why in that vehicle today, let's see together how the vehicle looks like from the software perspective, electronically. We have the Esys, and also let's see all the same options hardware-wise on the real vehicle. I'll show you when the FA, the vehicle order, should be the same in the vehicle, when it should be saved to the vehicle, when it should not be saved to the vehicle in case of some retrofits. That's why the current car is a very good example for that. So, when we will connect the vehicle with the Esys, what should we see? We will read out the vehicle order. We will see that that vehicle have automatic transmission. It means you can see that selector on the F series, it is completely different on the automatic transmission, sport or regular one. Because of that shape, I can tell you that inside that vehicle there should be written an option 2 Tango Bravo. It means sport automatic transmission. We will see that a bit later. Also, can you see the head unit? This one is NBT Evo, widescreen professional navigation. So you should see in the vehicle option 609, the professional navigation system. But we will not see that in current vehicle because that stuff was retrofitted here. It is a very good example when you're making some modifications and you should not write the modified FA into the vehicle because that might cause way more harm for you in the future. If you don't understand at the moment when you should write the new vehicle order into a vehicle and when not, I recommend you not to do that because it requires a bit more understanding how the car is built. One more option that you can physically see in the car are the lights of the BMW. In the current vehicle we have regular xenon lights. They are not adaptive one. So it means if I read out the vehicle, I should see option 522 in the vehicle. So in that light over here we can see it is only BMW written there. There is nothing like adaptive xenon, adaptive LED or anything else. Also we can see it is a xenon light, but from that sign over here we can see it is not adaptive one. That's why I make conclusion that we should see option 522 in the vehicle. Now let's establish connection, read the information out from the vehicle and see what do we actually have there. How to establish the connection properly, not to make any mistakes and not to harm your vehicle, please see my part number 1, it is over here if you haven't done that before. So the connection is established, we have read out the vehicle order. Let's save the vehicle order to the desktop. It will be FA, it is vehicle order from the German, and F34. Let's click edit and let's have a look what do we have over there. Remember the 3 main parts of the vehicle order. One was the SA option. In F and G series it is called SALAP element. So over here you can see all the options that are present in the vehicle. Remember, sport automatic transmission should be option 2 Tango Bravo. It's present here, of course. Also, we were talking about the lighting. I told it will be 522, so it is regular xenon light, not adaptive, not anything. And also, my head unit, remember? I told you that I was retrofitting the NBT Evo, the professional navigation system, so it should be 609, but actually it is 606 present. Why? Because at the date of the production of that vehicle, there was no NBT Evo in that vehicle. That's why I am not allowed to write the vehicle order with the modified FAs into that vehicle. Also, what's important, you can see, remember the date criterion, it is March 2016, it is not modified at the moment, but remember I showed you the vehicle order when I was retrofitting my NBT Evo, there was site criterion also changed. And the third parameter is Typecode. It is the combination of chassis and engine, it's also present here. So the vehicle order looks like that one. If you need to make any modification in the vehicle order, you just right click, press edit, and now you can modify the SALAP element. For example, if we would like to add whatever other option, for example, I have retrofitted the better lights, for example, adaptive xenon lights. That's why I can just remove 522 and I should write instead 524. That will go for adaptive xenon light. All those numbers will go automatically in alphabetical order. That's why you don't have to make it manually. But all of those have to be separated with the comma. After making the needed modifications, you can just press apply changes and you can see everything will jump to the right place. But be aware, at the moment I have written 524 that goes for adaptive xenon lights. But actually, did my lights change by themselves also or not? Of course not. If you don't make any hardware modifications, that's why the changes in the vehicle order might not be the best idea. But just for the better visualization, let's code my car with adaptive xenon lights. We'll have a lot of different errors in the car, but this is necessary for the bonus part of that video, where I'll show you what changes will be made inside the vehicle if you're making the coding with the vehicle order. So when the changes are made, the thing you need to do, right click over here and calculate FP. It's calculating the vehicle profile. And when that's done, press save button. The vehicle order have been saved. Now if you choose to go back, the Esys will ask you, do you want to load the modified FA? You press yes. And exactly the same FA is opened over here. So how to code with the vehicle order or with the FA? You can see that FA is activated if on all the ECUs I'm making right click and I will press code. The Esys will recode the whole car, all the ECUs, and that's definitely not the thing you want to achieve. So press do not code the whole car if you don't know what you're doing. We have modified the vehicle order, and in order to code only single ECU that is required, you just press on that single ECU. In your case, actually, it will be opened up in that way. You press right click, and if you press code, that ECU, the FEM body, will be recoded based on all options present in the vehicle order. So imagine we have the FEM ECU. This is the ECU responding from the front electronic module. All the electronic components in front of the car, lighting, keys, and all that stuff. In my car, I have the xenon lights, regular xenon lights. It is option 522. And obviously, the FEM ECU should be coded with that option in order to lights to work properly. Makes sense. At the moment, for just training purposes, I have changed the vehicle order and added option 524. It goes for adaptive xenon light. So the FEM ECU at the moment is coded with 522. I have deleted 522 and added 524, and then we'll recode the ECU with that. We'll get a lot of different errors in the car because the car itself will start looking for adaptive xenon lights, but actually they are not present in the car. So that step is necessary if you're making whatever retrofit, and this is just to show you what difference will be made. Coding with the vehicle order restores all the parameters inside the ECU to the factory settings based on the vehicle order itself. That's why if after the first part you have made any modifications inside whatever ECU manually, making the FDL coding, changing the single parameters, you can restore all to the factory setting just via clicking the code button. It also means if you have done any retrofits or whoever else have done any retrofits for you and you don't know what changes are made inside the ECU, it is not good idea to click code button, because all the factory settings in that ECU or in the whole car will be restored, and if you don't know how to revert everything back, you'll be screwed. At the moment you can see we have 0 errors in the car, so no notifications. Let's go even inside the vehicle status and check control. No faults, everything is working. That situation will change after we code the FEM ECU. So let's go back to coding. On the FEM body itself, right click and press code. The coding process will start. The FEM ECU will be coded with the parameters based on the vehicle order, and the car will start looking for adaptive xenon lights. You can see 0 errors, everything is okay, but let's have a look into the car and see what changes are done there. So guys, I have recoded the car, but I have lied a bit to you about those errors and everything. Actually, there should be errors, but after recoding the car with adaptive xenon lights, no errors appeared. It is daytime, it is harder to emulate that it's dark. I need to start driving, turning the steering wheel, all that stuff. So that's why it was not so spectacular for you, but I have deleted all the lighting options. So instead of adding 524, I have deleted the 522 and 524. There is no lighting option present in the car. So I just told the car that it is with the halogen bulbs without any xenon anything. All the rest of the process remained the same. And now have a look to the screen that we have. So I have recoded the car without any lighting options at all, and you can see a lot of different errors present. So basically the headlights are not working at all. So as you can see, my lights are on at the moment. I can flash the high beam. It's only for the flashing. A lot of errors appear. If I press to hold it, actually something remains, but it's definitely not working properly. And also, let's go outside of the car and see if the lights are working at all. Remember, the lights should be on, but as you can see, the light is dead. Neither the right or the left one, they are not working, because car just do not understand what it has to do with the lights. That's why messing with the vehicle order without knowing what you're doing is definitely not a good idea. Let's restore everything back. So obviously it is not good result when the headlights are not working at all. That's why let's revert everything back. We are making all the same things in vice versa order. Press edit, open the vehicle order, go down to the slab element, and we cannot see any lighting options. So there is no 522 or 524 present, but we know that my car was from the factory with 522 option. That's why we're just adding that, pressing apply changes, calculating the vehicle profile, saving, going one step back, pressing OK. And now if I press code, the car will again understand. It will learn that actually it has regular xenon lights and all the errors should disappear. Now I'm pressing the code button. Have a look to the screen of the car, what actually happens in the car. At the same time, you can see the coding process. This is totally OK error, and instantly all the errors are gone. So no faults. It still shows vertical aim control and all that stuff. It is totally OK. Why it's happening? Because car just needs a restart. We can turn the car off. We can even open the door, close the door, whatever. Start the car again. And in the vehicle status, 0 errors. All my lights should work now. Let's go outside and confirm if the lights are working now or not. And now the magic happened and the lights are working again. So actually from the physical perspective, all the same components remain in the car. But with the changing the vehicle order, we told the car that now you have xenon, not xenon, but regular halogen bulbs. And because physically it was different from the software wise, that's why the lights were not working. In today's video, we have looked how to code your vehicle based on the vehicle order. Coding based on the vehicle order will restore all the factory settings based on the 3 main parameters in the vehicle order you have changed. The SA option itself, the date criteria, and the type code, or the combination of engine and chassis. I remember that I have promised you the bonus, like inside deep comparison what is happening behind that code button when we are coding the car with one option or with another option. I'll see if that will be the part of the same video, or I'll make another video about the deep comparison of options. And that's it. If you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Otherwise, you will just miss a lot of very interesting and important information about BMW coding. See you next time. Bye.